What's going on, guys? Dan back here with Regular Guy Garage. What I want to talk about in this video is my thought process and the contributing factors that led me to my decision to choose the Holley Terminator X fuel management system over a Megasquirt or Microsquirt system. This isn't a video to knock either Megasquirt or Microsquirt. This is just the factors that contributed to me choosing the Holley system over those two systems. I did a video like this a while back as to why I chose to build a carbureted car over a fuel injected car, and it still does really well today. So this is just why I chose the fuel management system that I did for my 331 stroker build. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on in the video. I'm going to go keep plugging away. We did a lot of work, as you saw in the last video. Got the 331 fully back in the car. Got very close to finishing it up in the past few days. So if you really are here just to want to see the discussion on why I chose the Holley system over the Micro or Megasquirt, just go ahead and fast forward all the way through the video until I'm sitting back in this chair, and then you will be able to hear what I have to say. Anyway, guys, let's get the video started. Well, guys, I mean, sometimes you just got to put the camera down and, get to work. So I put the camera down for a little bit, got a few time lapses in there for you, but I really wanted to get knocking away on this thing. Got it pretty far along. All right, we're getting really close. So I got this entire side done. I just got to find a spot to hook up that dipstick. It doesn't fit where it typically fits, so I got to find a way. Maybe, I don't know, like a steel zip tie or something to fasten it down, but I'll figure that out. Got all the spark plugs, the header's mounted on this side. This is just thrown up here for now. Like I said, still waiting on the push rods. Got all the injectors in, the harness hooked up. This harness is broken in a bunch of spots. I'm gonna probably get a new one, but for now it'll be okay. All the wiring hooked up. Starting to get the water, coolant system hooked up. Fuel system's all hooked up. I just have to, again, find a spot to zip tie these up and out of the way. So they are not, because this ARP bolt is not a stud like the other one. And now I have to finish up this side over here, which I'm gonna get going on. Header gasket, spark plugs, and then that's pretty much it. So a common mistake with the thermostat housing, a lot of people will take it and put the spring end in this way. That's not how it goes. I wasn't paying attention, and then I kind of thought about it later on. I just took the thermostat off the old one and threw it on this new intake. The thermostat spring end goes into the intake manifold, okay? Alright, guys, so I've gotten most of the engine put back together. No point in really, videoing a front accessory drive going on, or kind of the little things that I'm working on now. Clutch cable just sitting here. But I'm gonna get it filled up with water, and I want to make sure that there's no leaks. So this is a pretty big moment right here, and hopefully we don't have any issues. Let's see if I'm any good at the pour. Oh yeah. Something I like to do, and that you should do, is find a high spot on the engine with the coolant system. And basically, I'm gonna use this sensor right here, this temperature sensor. I'm gonna remove the plug. And the reason I'm doing that, even though I burped the system, which is essentially just squeezing the bottom radiator hose, is I wanna try and bleed any air possible out of the system. Saw that puff of air come out of those air pocket. As you can see, system is not full. Something you always want to do, because if I would have just fired that thing up when it was time to fire it up, it would have had an air pocket in it, probably started overheating, and then I'd have been either chasing around, something, or trying to bleed the system when everything was already put back together. So really easy, important step. What I like to do is keep the car jacked up, make sure the radiator is higher than the rest of the engine essentially, fill it up, and then take that highest plug off. And once you get all that air out, all that fluid is just gonna go ahead and fill up every little orifice inside the engine, and we're gonna be good to go. So a couple good signs after filling the coolant up, the level hasn't dropped at all. But then also, as we pull the dipstick out, there's no water on it, so that's always a great sign. So good sign we got no water on the dipstick. That means the head gaskets are holding fine. There's no cracks or anything like that. Hopefully, once we start it up, it just carries on over. So I have the push rods in, finally. These are 6-inch 500,000 push rod length. And they're chromoly trick flows. Should do very well with the setup we got. So let's go ahead and get these in the car, get the valves adjusted, and then we can move forward. We're getting pretty close to finishing this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and start with cylinder number 1 and then work my way down the firing order and get them all adjusted. And the way I'm gonna essentially do it is run the nut down until the push rod has some drag on it to set it to 0 lash. And then I'm gonna do about a quarter turn, 3/8 of a turn to actually set the preload on it, and then I'll lock the lock nut in the middle down. All right, so I got all the roller rockers adjusted. The first one I did was actually just a little bit too snug. I haven't done these in a while, and it just didn't feel right after I finished. So I went back through and I went ahead and tightened them all down. And I mean, now they're, set. I set them to 0 lash. What I was doing was I was running them down a little bit too far and then going another, quarter turn or so, or 3/8 of a turn. So that was a little bit too much. Anyway, we are now good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these valve covers on, and we'll see where I go from there. Well, apparently the roller rockers are hitting the valve cover. So I got to get a set of taller valve covers. I mean, not a huge deal. They're not too expensive, but this is something that I didn't really want to, you know, have to pay for. But it's part of building an engine. I knew it was a possibility. I was just kind of hoping for the best. Not a big deal. I'll go ahead and get a different set and hope that I don't need a intake spacer as well, because at that point I might be running into hood clearance issues. Okay, so what I noticed is it's hitting where the baffle went, and you can see it right there. What I'm going to attempt to do, because I put the other side on and the other side clears, which, geez, I got to clean this thing too better. Anyway, I'm going to get a grinder and try and grind this thing down, and that might save us, you know, what, 150 bucks or so. We'll see, because that's a good chunk of, you know, I mean, that's a good chunk right there that it's, you know, probably hitting on. So we'll go ahead and give that a shot and see if it works. All right, so that's the area that I clearanced out. Not the prettiest, but it's enough to get the job done. What we're clearancing is the nuts right there, is where they stick up a little bit higher. This one here on the left, not so much, but this one here on the right is the one that was hitting right around this area right here. So we got it all cleared out. I put it on already, and it fits pretty good. So I'm gonna bolt them back down, and hopefully when I go to start the engine, they don't knock the valve cover. So I guess we'll eventually find out. All right, so got the rest of the front accessory drive, radiator, fan, all that good stuff in. Stuff that really isn't that interesting to film, but we got the engine fully back in the car, pretty much fully put back together. What I'm actually going to do now is take this wiring harness out, because as you could tell by the title, I recently made a decision on which engine management system I'm going to go with. All right, so what I wanted to touch on is why I ended up choosing the Holley Terminator over either the Microsquirt or Megasquirt or whatever like that, which I know is popular with the Foxbody guys. When I was looking at the Microsquirt, I was really only looking at it because the, oh, hello Stella. So I was really only looking at it because the Megasquirt is the most cost effective, right? You can get it from EFI source for $475, hooks right up where the stock computer was, and it, you know, you don't really have to do very much work after that. Outside of that, you just start tuning. So that was, you know, most cost-effective way. But in reality, I mean, I don't really know too much about tuning. I'm confident I can get the thing started, but I wasn't really ready to tackle that. Reached out to a couple people, you know, see their thoughts, opinions, and stuff. Then I was looking into the Megasquirt. Basically, what I thought that was similar to the Microsquirt. Obviously, you're going to get a little more with it, but you know, for the money, you basically get, you know, the computer, and then you got to buy, you know, a wideband and all that other stuff. Plus, I'm still going to have to get it tuned. So, what I decided to do was go with the Holley Terminator X. The main reason, I would say not the main reason, so one of the biggest driving factors for that is because on my car, the wiring harness, especially almost all the electrical connectors are broken on the engine itself. All the injector harness, the whole injector harness where the connections and stuff are all broken. The clips just sit right on there. Pretty much all the connectors are broke. So the Holley Terminator X comes with an entire new harness, even comes with new sensors, comes with a wideband sensor within the kit. Also, the computer tunes the engine for you, you know, while you're driving. So, I mean, it's not gonna maximize your performance, so I still am gonna need to get the car tuned. I'm gonna get the car tuned by, you know, a reputable tuner. But for me, just to hook it up and then, you know, set it up on the little digital thing, and then I can start the engine right away. I can at least get the engine started running, you know, test everything. Whereas with the other, you know, Megasquirt, Microsquirt, you know, I probably could do that, but in reality, I wouldn't really be comfortable doing that. But again, the big thing too is, you know, for the money. Like, yes, I did spend a little bit more for the Terminator, for the Holley Terminator X than I would have, especially for the Microsquirt, but at the same time, I would have definitely had to get a new harness.
So that would have cost me money too. So it would have been, you know, $475 for a Megasquirt. I would have got a wideband, so that would have been another $100 and some odd dollars. So now I'm at what, $500-600, okay, or more. And then a tune, who knows how much that would be. But then I'm not getting the harness with it, right? So then I'm gonna need to get the harness, right? And then the harness, who knows how much that would be. I've seen them I've seen they can be pretty expensive. So unless I could find one second hand, I mean, then I'm creeping back up towards that $700-800 range. Whereas with the Megasquirt, so the Megasquirt was, I think they sell a kit that's like $900, but then they also sell a kit that's about $1,000. And the one that's $1,000, you get the Megasquirt computer and then a wideband sensor with it. Whereas the Holley Terminator is basically little over $1,000, and you get the whole Terminator setup plus the whole wiring harness. Wait for this plane to go by. We have an airport that's literally not an airport, it's a civilian one. All right, so you get the Holley Terminator X computer, you get the wiring harness, it comes with a wideband, and like I said, the big thing for me was it does tune itself while you're driving. So in essence, I could start this car, let it run, you know, get some driving in on it, and drive it safely. You know, the car's gonna be okay until I'm ready to, okay, hey, yeah, let's throw a tune on this thing, you know, get it to the track and all that good stuff. So to me, it was just very, you know, for my situation specifically, the Holley Terminator was just the way to go. And I wouldn't be I would be lying if I didn't say that the existing wiring harness didn't play a major factor. I think if I had a good wiring harness to start with, I might have just gone with the Megasquirt and then found someone to tune it and saved, I mean, you know, saved some money. But in the end, I mean, the system should be here hopefully tomorrow. Hoping to have this thing started up within the next day or two. You know, make sure that all of my work actually ends up working. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for this video. On the next video, we should see this thing fire up. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. If you like the videos, make sure to share them, you know, like them, all that good stuff. It all helps out the channel. If you don't follow me on Instagram, at Regular Guy Garage. I have a whole playlist for this car. Go ahead and check it out. If you wanna see where it all started, take care and we'll see you on the next one.